Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where we come together at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And what do we have going on? Well, certainly a bit of a reversal and a momentary retest of the lows of the day just a second ago. We'll see how far this goes. But there are a few things out here that we had set up, and that was Walmart earnings. Ran a lot of folks out this morning. Home Depot, not quite as exciting. It's only up about 0.5%. Walmart's still up 7% on the day. But, the inside skinny on why it's up that much is probably more disturbing than it being up. There were a few things going on that made me think that we were at a fairly large high, and why we spent yesterday's day at looking at how far the reversals could be bringing us back in the market. Options have been pointing to significantly lower, maybe a couple hundred points lower, going in since last Thursday. Have been pushing for been suggesting a fairly low close on Friday. And you never actually know why it is. It was kind of hard for me to fathom what would it be. I wouldn't have bet. I don't think anybody else was betting on missiles landing in Poland. That would have been the lottery choice, wouldn't it? But certainly what we have is a market that was very thin, and a few things that were going on. The first thing that I brought up this morning in the newsletter was the very high preponderance of dark pool money yesterday in the trading. And generally, if you get anything that varies much from about 35%, you get a 2% day of the volume being in the dark pools. That's telling you that the big guys aren't very active that day. If it gets 38%, maybe 39%, that they're extremely active. I looked at the very high number yesterday and thought that there really weren't that many retail traders deciding to chase this. Most of this probably was the fear of fear of missing out from the big houses and other things. And of course, they were probably just being glad to make some money real quick, run the shorts out this morning. It was going to pull back, maybe not as quickly as missiles landing in Poland, but we were probably coming back anyway. And sometimes you just get a lot of that very quickly. We'll see, at least on the SPYs, the first level of support is 395. You pretty much have every 5 points lower a support level. But we'll see. 877-927-6648. We also had somebody point out in the den not too long ago that we had some fairly massive call buying the last couple of days. And, that actually, first day was a little bit. I mean, you had a lot of call buying, but it wasn't the kind of volume that would set everything apart. The 11th on Friday, we started to get some very big volume. And then yesterday, again, we had some very big volume in call buying. But really, Friday was the high water mark with 771,800 calls bought to just 234,000 puts. And anytime you get that many people on one side, you're going to find people that are all screaming that the market's going to highs, and it's almost always a good time to start looking at a market that pulls back a little bit. We've got a little bit of a bounce out here now, 398, 397. I suspect it's going to continue to kind of bounce around a little bit, but we shall see. 877-927-6648. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of that. Okay, let's see what we have out here. Okay, anyway, big call buying almost always means that you've hit or close to hitting some kind of high in the market. Okay. Other things that we want to look at out here today is volume. So we'll do that, which is one more over here for me. On the CBOE consolidated volume, we didn't have much volume in the morning, but we got a great deal of it off that high. We're doing about 8.2 billion shares right now. So that will be a little bit of volume off the top, as they like to say, but we shall see. Let's see what else is out here that I wanted to talk about. Probably not as big a news out here as one would think, but very interesting to see Google pay an absolutely monstrous fine yet again yesterday. And that fine was for tracking folks. So they're kind of maybe 6 months behind Facebook, Metamucil, on doing that. I haven't looked at Metamucil yet today and if it got much. But Google got back into this huge gap down from the 26th of October. That had 88 million shares down. Today, we were, before all this started, I think maybe we had 18 million shares on the upside. It wasn't looking good. And we're going to be looking at a lot of charts today that kind of show the same thing. So, yeah, everybody want to buy any pullbacks? They probably do. But my guess is that we are going to probably be weaker by Friday. And this is not probably one little bit. People are probably going to start thinking about ringing the register a little bit out here over the next few days. 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always put a message in the den if there's something you want to look at. I guess we'll do history when we come back. Was there something else I wanted to look at? Certainly, we looked at Google. I got a whole bunch of these stocks that were testing highs yesterday on lows, and we're going to go through those today. And I guess there's a few other things like that, but don't get too wound up. Maybe we find these bounces every 5 points lower on the SPYs into Friday, but I don't think there's a lot after today. Probably for 2 or 3 days that's going to be anything that approached the last 3 days, plus the huge 3-day, what do they call, 3 advancing soldiers. That really, with a lot of the gaps, just makes a lot of sense that we're probably ready for some pullbacks. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Hey, I did the same thing. I tried to find somebody in the den just posted. John in the den, actually, just posted Eric Hunsader, and where is he when you need him? I did talk to him a little while ago, 6 months or a year ago, and wanted to ask him what happened. They green mailed him a huge amount of money. And if you don't know what green mail means, that is that they threw a lot of money at him to go away. He was pointing out where all the high-frequency traders were having a economy with the law and regulations for the market. And he continued to be such a pain in the rear end that they just made him a offer he could not refuse on his business, which is always interesting. I find a few folks that they do that. The guy that was the CEO of what is it? T-Mobile, who kept reducing prices and driving them all insane. They finally threw so much money at him that he walked out. But there's more than a couple ways to make money in the market. Sometimes just being a royal pain in the butt for those that probably don't want a lot of light exposed on what they're doing does occur. 877-927-6648. Anyway, we're going to go through a lot of these charts. I was looking at many of them where the volume was just rather very light in comparison to what we've seen before. Agilent Technologies, we went into the 149 high of August 17th. Of this year that had 4.11 million shares with a 1.2 million shares yesterday. Not a lot happening here. Everybody's still real high on biotech, but not a lot of juice, not a lot of energy going back up to the highs. Other ones that seem rather interesting to me is Aaron's Rents. This popped back up to 1124. on October 27th with 1.2 million shares. You got into that with about a little less than 400,000 shares, so 30% of the volume yesterday. You're pulling back a little bit. Probably going to come back at least and fill this gap at about 10.5. So you want to keep an eye on that. Let's see what else we have. ACM Research, some of these, as we showed yesterday, that were coming in and filling the gap are still trying to do that. This gap down on the 10th of October with let's call it 2.2 million shares. Yesterday was up into there with 800,000 shares. So far, less than 600,000 shares. AGCO, another one testing a previous high. It did so with 500,000 shares, which is actually not so bad compared to the June 7th high, 400,000 shares, but you do have kind of an abandoned baby up here, but the volume isn't massive, but do have some reversal signals. Assured Guarantee, AGO, had a 470,000 share high on June 7th at 61.12. You broke that a couple of days ago with 300,000 shares. Kind of a reversal day yesterday and a little bit more as it fills this gap. We talked about this one yesterday, which is A10 on a longer time scale. Had been testing the high of October 29th, 2021. Broke through it, never really had a sign of strength and volume. Its biggest volume was 2.5 million shares compared to that 8.4 million share high on October 29th. Beacon Roofing. This one's actually on a little shorter time frame. Tested with 500,000 shares yesterday, 550,000 shares yesterday, into the October 6th high that had 900,000 shares. So again, we've hit a lot of these highs and volume has pulled back rather substantially in a lot of these stocks, but we shall see. Okay. I think everybody's still there. Okay, Bluebird Bio, some of these biotechs going into previous highs on lighter volume. Bluebird Bio ticked off about 4 cents lighter than the August 17th high that had 28 million shares, today with about 3.3 million shares. CADE, which is Cadence Bank Corp, is going into its previous high of October 18th, $29.08 with 1.58 million shares. And of course, yesterday you had just under a million, well, actually shorter than that, 930,000 shares. Today, 500,000 shares, and you went a couple pennies over that. So you're going to get a lighter test and a little bit of a reversal on that. That's why I suspect that there maybe is a little bit more than a lot of people are thinking about here in the reversal. CDW, the company that actually likes to sell wholesale, well, not wholesale, but computer parts and stuff to actual businesses. They don't really sell to the public that much. Did see a high on August 19th at 188.38. That had 1.3 million shares. Got into that with 500,000 shares yesterday. What else do we have? CLB, Core Labs, which I think this was a little bit longer. Just back into this gap down, so I don't know if we make as much about that as others. To Celestica, just in a big trading range, but I don't know if there's that much in it. ELS, Equity Lifestyles. No volume on this one today. I'd want to probably check this out if I'm wrong about the market headed lower. FDL. Nice retest of 37.37. That's the August 18th high. That had 1.3 million shares. Yesterday you got into that with 800,000 shares. Went a little higher. Got maybe a million today. That may end up being a bigger reversal. So we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, Fidelity National or Financial did break through the previous high, and this was on September 12th that had 2.2 million shares. Did that yesterday and held the high on 1.5 million shares, but popped right back into trading range. FYBR, which is testing its October 4th high. That was 25.69 with 3 million shares. You got about 700,000 shares so far. You broke through the highs. You're probably not going to hold that. HAYW, Hayward. Wonder what these guys do. Anyway, a spike, almost 3 million shares on November 1st. Yesterday, 1.5 million shares. Today, about 600,000 shares. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, we're going to look at more of these stocks that have been challenging previous highs with lighter volume. HCA Healthcare, if you want to look at the high volume, that's September 12th. That had almost 2 million shares. Yesterday, you got into it with 1.3 million shares. Today with 600,000 shares. So real no sign of support even on those. Hibbett Sports, which we can take a look at here. Not quite into its previous high, but you want to keep an eye on that. IUSG, trying to break over. This is the core growth ETF. Volume's, well, still poor. 468 compared to 650, but that could get better before the end of the day. Okay, other ones. Mortgage Capital Fund got another gap up here today on fairly light volume. That's 400,000 shares compared to the 2 million shares. This is IVR, October 4th. Got $12.67 with 2 million shares. So you may do 25% of the volume today on this gap higher. JBHT, which is JB Hunt, another one up with a huge gap on, I'm going to say we're not even doing half the volume we did yesterday. Yesterday, 746,000 shares, 343,000 shares so far today. KR, take a look at that one. Kroger's. This happened a couple of days ago, but you had a spike on October 13th. That was 48.39. You went into this with 6.2 million shares compared to the 27 million shares. Not a big surprise that now it's got back lower. Maybe, probably in the range to $42, it looks like. To Lamar Advertising. This is back up, trying to get back into this gap down that happened on 388,000 shares. Could be worse. You got 219,000 shares so far, so about half. LEA, which is Lear, King Lear, back into some gaps, went through it. Don't know about this much about that company. LITM, which is light. This is a penny stock, but kind of interesting. With a 74 million share high on September 23rd at 355, did go and blow through it today with 300,000 shares. So not a lot of people. That's the old put it up a flagpole and see if anybody salutes in Peoria. Well, doesn't look to me like anybody was saluting there. 877-927-6648. Email me if you have any questions about what's going on here. Okay. Landstar Systems, LSTR, comes in, fills half the gap down from the January 6th massive gap down. That was about 500,000 shares. You're doing a little less than 300,000 shares now. MPW, nice gap higher, Medical Properties Trust. But certainly on fairly wimpy volume. So a lot of these things could be setting up for some kind of reversal, even if they hold the price today. So you want to keep an eye on it. MTZ, back into this 90 area, $92 area where you've had a bunch of highs. The last major one was 92.03 with 1.4 million shares. You got, 268,000 shares today. So any kind of pullback on a lot of these are going to have some fairly significant signs, sell signs in them. Let me put it that way. Navisite, NAVI, the symbol on that one, October 26th got to 1625 with 2.7 million shares. You got about 500,000 shares today. It may or may not hold that high today, but you want to, these are the ones where you want to start looking at the market moving and then start looking at the individual stocks. Nine Energy Service, NINE, gapped higher today with 2 million shares after going through a March 8th high that had 82 million shares. So interesting. It's getting curiouser and curiouser. The game is afoot. I'll throw a few more chestnuts out there before the end of the show. NTCO actually was looking at this one because it actually challenged the previous low on lighter volume. That's 1.25 million shares yesterday at 457 into the 467 low. So it went through it and did pop back into the trading range on lighter volume. Not many of those out there at the moment. OMER, Omaroso, This thing looks like it's trying to get back down to the low of $1.86. QGen, a huge gap. This would be a one to watch for any reversal in the Chinese market. This is a 3-gap play. There isn't a lot of volume. I know there's a lot of other problems, but you got 3 big gaps out here. Not a huge volume stock, but if it were, I'd probably be short it right now. 877-927-6648. I got a couple of email numbers here. We'll see if we can't pick that up. Okay, I had 2. Maybe it's just regular notes. Okay. Tiger chat. Okay. I don't see anything else out here. Question on gaps. When a particular stock's nature is to be riddled with gaps, I don't give those gaps any weight with respect to trading. Do you do the same? I do it on a statistical basis. And the Art of Timing the Trade charts, I wrote to do that. So it already knows if there's a lot of gaps to whittle it down to the biggest ones. So, yeah, I do, but they have to be fairly big to show up if there are a bunch of them already. And it just shows the largest ones and the ones with the most volume. So it takes a little bit more work. But, yeah, if you're not going to sit there and really dig through it or have the Art of Timing the Trade charts, you can probably do that. mRNA. Okay, we'll take a look at mRNA. Okay. Okay. You know, everybody is hotter than a firecracker to get into biotech. You have a nice gap higher. What I dislike is you gap down on the 9th of, is that August? Yeah, 9th of August with 5 million shares. Could be worse. I think a lot of this is chasing short sellers out of the market today. But maybe you get a retest of the 197.44 high on lighter volume, and that sets the high in it. I don't see it really blowing through that high. REGN, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. This is another one that had a fairly light test and a reversal. The September 9th high came in at 754.67 with 2.14 million shares. You spiked that with 1.26 million shares, so tiny bit more than half, and now you're starting to reverse. Looks like this could come back at least to the gap at 700. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And as we return, we're going to try to get through as many of these as we can today and then look at some other stuff. But certainly Starbucks gapped down on the 2nd of February, did so on 15.5 million shares. We're now breaking through that gap higher today with a little bit of a reversal with 4.2 million shares. SKT, which is Tangier Factory Outlets, is breaking through the $19.19 high of May 17th. That had 2 million shares. Yesterday you had a little less than 900,000. Today you got about 228 as you broke through that high. Not a real ringing endorsement of a lot. Of course, we're going into Christmas, and maybe you have to drive 50 miles out of town and visit a Stuckey's and a Tangier's strip mall. But you never know. Anyway, Silicon Laboratories, everybody looks like to me that there's a 3-gap play in Silicon Laboratories along with a lot of other stocks. You gapped down back on the 19th of August with 260,000 shares. Not as bad out here. That wasn't a huge day. Really, the bigger days came a little later on heavier volume. But support probably back around 130 on that one. SLM is back up to this big day on what is that? June 13th. Came down with 2 million shares. Yesterday you kind of attacked it with 1.4. Today you got a doji out here with 837,000 shares so far. THO, which is Thor Industries. And a nice gap higher in this one. Also probably a 3-gap play. So 77, 82, and 87 are the center points of those gaps. That would suggest, these 3-gap plays suggest that a lot of these are going to come right back to the start of where these things started gapping up. And I'm pretty sure tonight when I do my scan, I'm going to find a ton of stocks with 3-gap plays in them. And today was probably the first part of the reversal in many of those. A lot will depend on the close here today. I know just about everybody I've bumped into is radically bullish in the market, and sometimes you just get air pockets from that. Sometimes you get massive reversals. But I think today is going to tell us if we close on the lower side of this, that it is much more likely the first day of a kind of major reversal opposed to a one-day thing. U.S. Bancorp, this went into the $44.15 high of October 17th. That had, let's call it 22 million shares into it yesterday with 14 million shares, and now a reversal into the trading range today. VNO, which is Vornado Realty Trust. I think more than anything, this is a retracement of the move lower. And let's take a look at it here. And today you got the 618, and you're sitting right on it. So, yeah, again, I think a lot of these things were just squeezes. But we'll see. Vishay International going through a 940,000 share high on January 5th. Today with 481,000 shares. That may hold. Okay. Get anything else out here. A lot of stocks also that are on the downside do have confluence zones. We talked about that, I think, on Monday. So we'll bring that up. But here's a good one if you're just going through Tom's book and trying to figure out how to set up some of these confluence areas. VTYX would set you up for a pop to $30, and that would be hard resistance levels there. I'm not exactly sure what those guys do. I'm not going to stop and look yet today, but we are going to get to some of the emails. Looks to me, if this is correct, is this Party City, PCTY for Hector? Paylocity. Paylocity. You got two gaps. Maybe you get a third in some of these. What do you have for volume today? 336,000. Yesterday, 638,000. I don't know. General overall market, again, I'm not that bullish. I think we probably close more and closer to the low of the day in the SPYs than anything else. There aren't many stocks out here testing lows, as I said. Most everything had bounced fairly significantly. This VIX futures chart is and has gone through the last major low. That was the January 12th low at $17.30 for the VXX. That had 43 million shares. Today we got about 6.3 million shares. And maybe the sign of a little bit of a reversal. So those fanboys of the UVXY, maybe it's coming back at you. More put buying or call buying. There wasn't much. It happened so quick today that my guess is we're going to have to wait till the close to find out what the put and call buying actually looks like today. I don't see, generally if you can watch it throughout the day, you can get a rhythm. But when you have a kind of rip the Band-Aid moment off that we had today in a very weak market already, and I'm saying weak market in that we have a lot of stocks that we're testing prices on lighter volume. Even Wendy's, although it had not that much lighter volume, a little bit of pullback, just 10% lighter up here. We already talked about Thor Industries. We also have Winnebago. And if you want to talk about bearish engulfing candles, this is the poster child for that right here. You had a move back up to the big gap lower. I think we're going to have a lot more charts like this for tomorrow that kind of look like this by the close. We'll see. But certainly we're going to have some probably big candles engulfing maybe the last couple on a lot of stocks, not the ones that everybody's yelling about today, but that's not the stock market. That is, of course, the ones that CNBC talks incessantly about. And Zyme, Z-Y-M-E, is trying to break out. Had many days. Some of the biggest one out here was 36 million shares back on April 29th. Into it with about 400,000 shares. So, like I said, there's a lot of these stocks that are kind of inching the way out, but probably hitting a stone wall of resistance higher. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years, with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Well, yesterday we started talking about how far stocks could pull back because you've always got to know where your risk and reward are. I thought it was kind of high, but we hadn't got quite the signal. I think we've gotten the signal today, and that will be very interesting to see. As we said, this is probably a list of about, 10% of stocks that are testing on lighter volume, some bigger, some not. I just went through as many as I could before the show to get a decent list of stocks out there that looked at least questionable. But we have a lot of things going on in the market. Some of these bigger ones, I know the semis have had some big moves and that. I think that they're maybe a little bit out over the tips of their skis. I have a feeling that semis more than likely will have their big run next year sometime, not this year. But we do have most of those off the lows by about 20%. Apple still probably the worrisome one, and being so huge in the indexes and seeing that it still has a high volume low back at 134.38, which was just a penny over the previous low not that long ago. So we've got some of these that look like they are problematic. They're huge in the indexes. And of course, since everybody plays ETFs these days, it doesn't really matter if you, unless you're hedging Apple out of it, it can be problematic. There are a few other stocks like this. And of course, stocks like Facebook, Metamucil, Google, some of these other ones that look like they're going to have a lot more problems in the coming year than they've got now. So just be careful, make sure, and have a stop in either way. These markets are taking some rather big swings. So when you can, not when you have to. We will see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.